I'm Andrea,
And I'm Jasmine.
and we're Natural Ewe Yarns.
This is our Summer of Socks.
Check-in number 1. Last week was the kickoff of our Summer of Socks knit-along, and today we're going to check in with you and talk about heels.
Yes, and special mention to stripes. We've got
Right.
some things we want to discuss going forward. And we hope everyone's enjoying their Summer of Socks and off to a good start.
Yes, and I hope everybody's received their yarn. I know there were a couple of people waiting, and we haven't gotten... And I think some people are on vacation and going to start a bit later. Anyway,
That's okay. It's a knit-along that lasts all summer long until Labor Day weekend, so you've got plenty of time to join. And we have extra mini skein sets, which are perfect for our stripy socks this summer. I love this one. It's called Iris, blues and purples, and a really variegated skein in there. And this one, Eos. But I have more. These are just my two favorites.
There's I think 8 or 9 different combinations available online or in shop.
You like this one, don't you?
I like them all. Yes, I really like this one. It's called
Keto.
Keto.
Mm-hmm. Like the keto diet, but actually it's named
With a
after...
C. It's a god.
Yeah, a Greek god.
Anyway.
And this one is Elpis. So
And
it's got
if you're
more earth
thinking you might knit more than one pair of socks, we've suggested 3 patterns total now. I know that there's a couple of people have found other patterns from the ones that we suggested, but if you're knitting socks, you're more than welcome to knit with us. And if you're knitting with our yarn, you will be, there's a set of things to do, right?
Yeah.
In the event.
I haven't posted it yet. That's a great reminder. I'm so sorry. Take a picture of the yarn you're working with and post it. That's one ballot. Post your progress. Each picture is a ballot. And then share that post.
Right, you do the post on your own timeline with the hashtags
Summer of Socks.
and
Tag
Natural,
us.
yes, and Natural Ewe Yarns, and then you share it to the group, the
On
year
Facebook.
Yes, the Year of Adventurous Knitting.
So it's one post, 2 ballots.
Right.
Real simple.
Right. Now, along with the minis, and for those of you that don't have one of our Advent calendars from last year to knit the Advent socks, or the mini-based socks, we like to point out that we have a lot of 50-gram skeins in our sock base that coordinate nicely with the various minis, so that if you have a mini set or you have the Advent calendar, you can stretch those minis.
These are the shorty sock pattern sets.
And there are actually 3 patterns done, each of them 2 different ways, so 6 different pairs of socks potentially that you can make with that pattern. I made the shorty striped socks, which have, I used 3 minis, and I have some yet left over. So it has a heel flap and gusset, and getting into the striping of socks, these are 4 rows stripes in the main body of the sock, and I would encourage you to not cut your yarn between stripes, just carry your yarn up your work. And you can do that by twisting the 2 color strands around each other at every time that they meet. So that it
Like
just,
a way to anchor it.
yeah, just a way to anchor it so you don't have any pulled stitches. And on the inside it looks kind of like that.
That's a fantastic way to go about it.
Yes.
If you're doing the fondant socks, I'll show a little picture here. They are a toe-up construction. I did 2 at a time, but because they are a fade, going from 1 mini through all 4 mini sets, mini skeins, perfect with our mini sets. I recommend doing a fade like I did, but you can do different pops of color. When you get to the heel, you're going to increase for the heel. It's called a Flegel heel, where you take...
well, it's an upside down heel flap, right?
Yeah, it's a heel flap in reverse, where you are creating the gusset and then you're creating the flap by decreasing on the leg of the sock. And I did find an error in the pattern. The designer took into account the number of stitches, but she didn't take into account the number of rounds. So you increase the first round, and then the second round is just straight knitting. So what you're going to need to do, she says that you want to continue in your foot measurement until you're 1 1/4 or 1 1/2 inches less than desired length, you're going to want to double that. So it's going to be 2.5 to 3 inches before the end of your desired length when you start your increases.
So if you have a 10-inch foot, you would want to start at 7 inches or 7.5.
Depending on if you're doing the small, the medium, or large size.
That makes sense because that's what it is for every other type of heel.
Exactly. And I had to learn that the hard way multiple times before I just did the math myself. I remember I had like an 11-inch long sock. So there's just a little error in the pattern.
So you can buy boots that are too big and be just fine.
So I did all that so that you wouldn't have to, and I hope that that's helpful.
So that is a great segue right into my heel. So the third pattern that we introduced is the sprocket sock pattern. And the heels on these, you have an option to do a couple of fish lips gusset heel, and there's another one, short row heel, and it really leaves it up to you. And I've decided I put waste yarn in mine, and I'm going to do an afterthought heel once I'm finished the entire sock. So it's a little bit you can, like, it's got more options. As far as the striping on this, you will need to cut between the colors and weave those in, but I like to weave them in as I go. I use a technique I learned during one of Stephen West's knit-alongs that's called the Weave and Stephen. And what you do with your small yarn is just between each stitch of the new row with the new color, you wrap it around the working yarn, and that way you don't need to go back and sew it in later.
It's a wonderful technique, but it didn't work with the fondant socks because the mock cable pattern on each edge of the insole doesn't really allow you to weave the cut yarn around the working yarn.
Yeah,
it interferes with the pattern.
Yeah.
So I need to go back and weave in my ends, and I'm going to weave them in along the heel edge.
But they're not as many as with the sprocket.
Oh no, and I also don't need to worry about anchoring and carrying my yarn up because the pattern tells you how to stripe in gradually over 12 rows your new color, so you're never really carrying your yarn very far.
Yeah, those are the basic updates. Our progress pictures. Jasmine has one sock done, is working at the cuff on the other one.
No, they're both done.
Oh,
They're
I'm
both
sorry.
done. I just only had one blocker available. So
I'm past the heel on this one, and we hope that you're enjoying the knit-along. We are enjoying the progress pictures that we're getting, the yarn pictures.
If you have any questions on things we didn't cover, please drop a comment below.
Or have a conversation with those of us that are doing the knit-along in the group, The Year of Adventurous Knitting on Facebook.
Yeah, come have a yak. Okay.
Thanks for joining us.
Yep, until next time.
Be natural.
Be you.
Bye.